Welcome, everybody, to a new episode, which we changed the name of the podcast, by the way. And this is the first one. We're kicking off the new name today. And behind the camera, you don't see her, but there's Rosie Puerta. You can just wave your hand, Rosie. Just put it in there so people know. There's Rosie. There's her hand. Rosie, your wife, Osie. Oh, it is Rosie, right?
Yeah, Rosie.
Yeah, I'm not messing it up. Wait a second. Imagine if I mess it up. But anyways, sidetrack squirrel. We changed the name of the podcast from Road Conversations to Legacy Podcast.
Okay.
You know? And why Legacy Podcast is like I told you that one time. I wish I had videos of my dad when he was our age, when he was 33, when he was 37, and to see what my dad went through. Because once I lost my dad and he took his final breath, he's like, man, I knew my dad from when I started to have when I started to remembering things about him. You know, it's like I was probably 7 years old, my earliest memory that I have about my dad. But there's no way I could look into the past and see who he was.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why I got intrigued to create this type of content. It was not necessarily to go viral, but it was to truly have a library of videos of what I've gone through every single day, and for my daughters to be able to see that. And today, this is all I want, is to provide a little window for people to see who you are, what you've done in your 33 years of life, but professionally, let's just say probably 10 years? Since you were 22, you started very young.
Yeah.
From what I remember in our last conversation, while you were running the Arlington Business Council.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name?
Yeah, so I manage the Arlington Business Partnership.
Okay.
I sit on the Arlington Business Council.
Okay.
I'm part of Arlington Temporary Assistance and Arlington Community Action Group.
So you got your hands in a lot of pots, man.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love is local to Riverside.
Yes.
You know, and that's something that I'm very grateful, is to be able to set my roots in this city. I've been here for 3 years, so fairly new transplant. But how long have you been in the city of Riverside, brother?
So my family moved from Orange County to Riverside when I was about 10 years old, so middle school time.
Okay.
We moved into Ward 6 in the Arlanza area behind Walmart. So Van Buren, where Walmart is, behind there, like one street right behind there was my house.
Okay.
So we got our American dream. This was before '08. A couple years happened into that, right? And then the housing market crashed and everything. So we were impacted by that. So that's where our American dream went away for a while. We moved into apartments down the street. But overall, since I'm 33 now, I think I've spent maybe less than 3 years of that outside of Riverside.
Okay.
But since I was 10, let's say about 20 years.
So you've been here your whole life, brother.
Mm-hmm.
The American dream, where are your parents originally from?
From Guadalajara and Jalisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been there, or you haven't been there?
So I've been there both, but not since I was a kid. So it's been almost the same 20 years since I've been there. So we used to go every summer. My parents started off as undocumented immigrants. So they did not come with us. So they sent us, the children, to go visit the family. We're all in a group on a plane, and somebody picked us up. And looking back, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could ever send my kids like that, because that's kind of dangerous.
Just throwing your kids out there,
right?
Yeah, that's brave.
So that was another thing. So every summer we'd go visit time with our grandparents. And then as we got older, I think just, life got a little more complicated, and we weren't as financially well off to continue doing those things, which is where I noticed that I took it for granted, because I just expected every summer we're going to go visit
were gonna go
grandma,
see
both grandparents. Well, only my grandmas are alive. So it was around that time where I started recognizing, like, okay, that's where we are financially. This is what to expect.
When did that started to make sense to you, the financial situation that your family was living in? How old were you?
Pretty young, because it comes from going to school and hearing what other kids do, right? So it's like...
what school were you going to?
So I was going to Wells Middle School at the time.
Okay.
So things like birthdays and Christmas, right? So I knew for a long time that we weren't that well off, because we got our clothes from those what do you call that,
thrift
charity?
Stores?
Yeah, from the thrift stores. But there's one right here on Brockton. It's Goodwill. They used to do their annual back to school day events, and I remember we always were like one of the first ones to line up.
Right.
And I'm a kid, so I don't really think anything. I was like, "This is how you get pants."
Right.
And then other people were like, "Oh, we went to the mall, and then this, and then that." Like, "Oh, I got Levi's," and then I never cared about brands, right? About brands of clothes. I was just like, "Hey, I got pants. They fit. They're good." But then you start hearing things of like, hey, for my birthday, we went to Disneyland. Or, hey, for Christmas, I asked my parents for a guitar. And I'm thinking like, oh, man, dude, I get socks and underwear for Christmas. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like nothing bad because I've never been one that like wanted a lot of things. But I think because I realized we weren't as financially stable, I also think that contributed to my not asking for so many things. You know what I mean? Because I saw my dad getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and then coming home at 6 p.m. like super tired. So I'm like, what am I going to ask him for? I got a roof over my head. Right. You know what I mean? I got food whenever we wanted. We got clothes.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
How many brothers or sisters do you have?
I have 3 younger brothers. Okay. So my other brother, he is turning 30 this year. So we're about 3-4 years apart. And then we got like a 15-year gap between the other 2. So my other brothers are 22 and 19. Okay. So my closest one in age, his name's Mark, and right now he runs his own like solar sales company. So he sells solar all over. My other brother, he got a full ride to Berkeley, just graduated about a year and a half ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really blessed with that. And he got his first job through Amazon as a computer engineer. Okay. So he's doing really well. He's in Seattle right now. Okay. So he might be coming back and forth, but right now that's where they put him at. I think that's where their headquarters is at. So he's living another life somewhere else right now. And my youngest brother. He's still with my mom in Orange County. 19. He's going to college right now, but he's the baby. You know what I mean? So he's still figuring out what he wants to do.
So what's the difference as you being the older brother? Did you see of your brothers understanding life the way you've understood it very early on when it came to the financial situation? Because obviously, probably the financial situation changed as you began to get older.
It changed.
And it was different for your younger brother than it was to you.
I think we all experience a different childhood.
Okay.
Because, I'm not going to paint my brother in a bad light, but like the one closest to me,
it's just how they grew up.
When he grew up, he was more of, instead of like, okay, so my mom would be like, hey, you can get 3 of these pairs of pants or you can get 1 Levi's. He'd be like, I'm only wearing Levi's. You know what I mean? Because the other kids in school wore it, and he was more of a social butterfly of like, hey, I want to wear what other kids are wearing. I want the JanSport backpack, the one that everyone has. You know what I mean? Me, I'm like, oh, I don't care if it's green. I mean, as long as it's not pink, don't just throw pink clothes. Ain't nothing wrong with pink. I mean, I have some salmon shirts these days.
Hey, man, I got a pink shirt, and I feel like I rock that pink shirt.
So I think growing up, I grew out of that. But like, I mean, I was like 10, 11, 12. So at those times, I mean, I was like, don't give me like super yellow, pink, and flowers, and I'm good, right? But my brother would be like, JanSport backpack. If we got him a backpack that wasn't a JanSport, it'd go missing. And then we'd like, got to get another backpack.
That's
and
interesting,
I'm like,
man.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to get a JanSport one.
That's interesting.
So I think he saw things a little differently. And maybe, his growing up, he felt like we were a little bit better off. You know what I mean? Because I was the first one, so I feel like it took a while for my parents to get stable to the point where like we could do things and we could go out. But for my youngest brothers, they, in my opinion, financially they had no idea of any sort of bad financials because I would work too, and I would buy my brothers everything they needed. So awesome. I have like pictures of them before school. I'd be like, hey, let's go. We'll get you as many pairs of shoes as you guys want, as much clothes. Like I took over those responsibilities so that way my parents could still focus on their bills.
But see, not everybody's willing to do that, man.
Not everybody's willing to. Right? It's my brothers. I love them, and it's like I remember how I grew up, and I'm like, I didn't get an older brother, but and that's fine. But I feel like if I had one that could have done that for me, that would have been great. So it's like if I'm blessed enough to be able to do that for my own family, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you do that?
So what was your first job, man, that you ever had? Do you remember your first job?
Yes. So my first real job with the paycheck and everything, because I did like some entrepreneur stuff at the beginning.
Okay.
My first
Let's go back to that in a little bit.
So my first real job that I got paid for was at Big Five Sporting Goods.
Okay.
I would be unloading the trucks at like 4 a.m. because that's where my dad worked. So my dad worked for Big Five Sporting Goods, and then I worked for a staffing agency that unloaded the trucks. So my dad worked like in a different department, but he was like, hey, they're always hiring over here. Like, like you're going to college, but you're going to need money too. So you got to do both. So I was going to RCC, and then I was like, so I was going to school super early in the morning and then taking night classes at RCC. Okay. And I did that for like 2 years. So it was a good experience because I had a couple more jobs like that, and they taught me that, I really appreciate what my dad's done for me because I never want to work hard labor again.
It's different, huh? I mean? It's a different type of job, man. Whether it's hard labor or if you're sitting behind a desk, it's the mental exhaustion that comes from working on a desk. A lot of people downplay that. It's like, what do you get tired about? You're always sitting down. I get it. I'm not unloading buses or trailers. I'm not doing any of those things, but the mental stress that comes from sitting behind a desk or running a company or running a whole program for business owners is different.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely downplay it because I get the jokes and I've gotten the smirks of like, oh, come on, man, like your job's pretty cool. And my job is cool. I get to meet a lot of cool people. I got to meet you. I get to meet, who knows who I'll meet tomorrow? Who knows who I'll meet next week, But I have timelines. I have deadlines. I have things that I have to plan for a year in advance. And then sometimes I got to just take leaps of faith with people because sometimes my vendors go out of business. I need a new vendor. And I pray to God he or she has the same quality of work that my other vendors do, because in my line of work, there's a standard and expectations. So like the mental health exhaustion of like, making sure everything's right. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to me. So I get the highlights and the good job and everything. But if something goes bad, people don't see that, right? Yeah. Like it's also on you. You get the good and the bad that comes with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've learned that both have their ups and downs.
They do.
You know what I mean? Physical labor or mental labor. I just think in my personal experience, I just feel so blessed because I feel like I have a higher capacity to handle mental labor than physical labor. And it's not because I don't like moving around and stuff. I've just been through some injuries lately and I just like the guy I am now, I'm like, I like to work out when I can, but sometimes I have a tendency to overdo it. I tore my pec last year about...
at the gym?
Yeah, at the gym at UFC Corona.
Oh, man.
Because I always go to Costco.
Okay.
So I saw the UFC gym open
right
up, and I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Let me go check it out. And then, oh, man, I was working out all the time. And
were you sparring or were you lifting?
No,
or
I was bench pressing.
Okay.
And I had two spotters. Two of my friends were spotting, and they were so in shock when they saw. I was bench pressing, and then my elbow gave out when I was lifting. So my elbow gave out and my arm fell, right? But I was forcing it not to crush me, so my pec lifted up and moved. Like you can see my whole pectoral moving. And then obviously one of my friends grabbed the bar and set it back up. And then I was just like, I was sweating like crazy because it was like the worst pain I've ever felt.
Oh, man.
Because I was like, hey, I'm 30 seconds away from passing out, guys. I was like, if I pass out, then call 911. If I don't, then let's just see if I can breathe and like we'll go to the hospital. And I didn't pass out, luckily. For me, that's a little embarrassing to pass out at the
Dude, I mean, certain things your body's going to do what the body's got to do, man.
I mean,
the ego comes into play.
Yeah, that's where the bad parts come into play. The pride, the ego.
So wait, what happened? Then they rushed you, went to the hospital, obviously?
No, so I did get, I went home that day and then I set up an appointment to go to the doctor. It took about 8 days for it to fully bruise, and then they told me it was a muscle tear on my, I think it was like my lower pec. I forgot exactly what the term is called. And then I had like some strains on my bicep and then over here towards my rotator. So you could see like a line of blue and purple going all the way down right here. I have like a picture of it.
Gotta send it to me so I can post it. We're talking about as B-roll.
Yeah. It was a little gruesome. But it took me out of commission for a long time. I barely felt in the last couple of months that I could start lifting again. But then I get excited, and then I try to lift heavier and heavier.
So wait, was this recent or how long ago?
This was 18 months ago.
Oh, it's fairly recent, man.
Yeah. So I thought
no
that
surgery or anything like that?
No. So,
Slowly
yeah, we let
recovering.
it heal. They did say that part of my pain could be scar tissue, but I noticed that I have a higher tendency to, if I reach anytime from right to left, like if I do it in a fast movement, like putting your seatbelt on,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get a crazy cramp where I'm just like, oh man, and I told my wife, I was like, all right, let's just relax for a little bit because like, oh, that hurts so bad. So, and that sucks because it's like almost 2 years later and you're still feeling
going with
it,
it.
you know. So right now I'm much more prepared to handle mental labor than physical
Therapy
labor.
or anything like that? The
Yeah,
doctor
I did
says?
physical therapy. Yeah, we did a lot of physical therapy. Went to because we were in like 2 car accidents in this past summer too. So we've been doing physical therapy for like the last year and a half and trying all kinds of things. The only thing I didn't do was any like sort of painkillers or injections or anything like that. I try to stay away from all that. I try to, you know, like I want my body to heal without. I mean, I'm diabetic. I already take medicine. I don't want to keep taking medicine. You know what I mean? I want to feel better. I want to do better. I don't want to just every time I go to the doctor, I get a new pill. And that's your pill buddy for life. That's all they do, man.
Every time we go in there, it's just something new, something new. What were when you were an entrepreneur, what was it that you tried to do in that era?
So reselling electronics. So my dad had always wanted, like he was always a guy who looked for an opportunity to make money. So he kind of instilled that into me. So he would work for like Herbalife, the company that made like the supplement powders and whatnot. And sometimes they'd give the supplements out to the workers for free if there's errors on the packaging. So it could be like one printed out half English, half Russian. So like half the instructions are wrong, or like not wrong, but you just can't read it. You can't read that. So they would just give them away. So my dad's like, all right, I'm gonna sell them. And then he would like post them on OfferUp, on Craigslist or something. And then, or he'd have me knocking door to door at the apartments and do a little sales pitch and do that. So that's how I started being comfortable talking to people. Yeah. And then, you know, I was like, well, my dad's doing this to make money. Like, what can I do? And then we met a guy who ended up having a spot at the swap meet right here on Van Buren. Again, a lot of my stories are very local around here. So, yeah, because I grew up in this area, right? Here. So the Van Buren drive-in, I had a swap meet spot on Sundays, and I started with all my own stuff. So I sold my Nintendo, my PlayStation, my Xbox, all my games. I sold all my stuff. And my dad's like, hey, you sure you want to do that? Like, I was like, yeah, like, you know, I haven't played some of these in a while. And, you know, me and him did some research on buying pallets online for used electronics. And I was like, I'm going to use that money to buy more pallets. And that's exactly what we did. Because we were new at the drive-in swap meet, the first thing before they even open, the other salesmen will come and look at everything. And when they see someone new, they try to see what you're valuing your stuff at and what you're pricing it at. So sometimes I would sell all my stuff before they even started, because they were like, oh, this is a good prices, and these guys resell electronics too. So they would just come and buy me out. So sometimes we would sell out, and then we would go buy another pallet. And sometimes we'd get really good stuff. We'd get like universal laptop chargers. And these are like the ones that like, you know, at the time they were like MSRP for like $100+ and we're selling for $20. So it's like, hey man, a charger that works for your laptop because it has all the universal bits on it. It's $20. You go to Best Buy and buy it for $100 right now. It's a great deal.
So you had these other people coming, buying your stuff, and they were reselling it.
And they were reselling it too. So it's funny to me, but like, I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? So we'd call people on Craigslist, and I'd make deals with them. You know, people who, because everyone knows, like, or at least in these kinds of sales, is if you're trying to get rid of a lot of stuff, people usually give you a lower like price value for it than if you sold things individually, right? Because if you have the patience for it, you'll get more money out of your stuff. So I would buy things from people who are in a rush to sell stuff. They're like, hey man, you know what? I have 75 games and I don't want any of them.
I'm done.
And I'm like, I'll give you $3 each disc. And then like $2.25. And they're like, man, I paid $30 for these. I was like, you go to GameStop and sell them. And then they'd be like, oh, you just give me the money. And then I'd buy all those games. And then from $3, I list them for $5.
When was the last venture that you tried to do and start something new as an entrepreneur before you went into the job for the workforce?
Oh, before I went to like to actually start working in the workforce, that was my biggest one before I entered the workforce. Right now, this is like a different way of answering your question. Right now, I do have my own nonprofit but it's not necessarily something to make me money or anything. It's the Arlington Community Action Group. What we do is we focus on it's Christianity through humanism. So doing good works, right? It's like one of my favorite, like, kind of messages, like from my spirituality is like, show me your faith without works, I'll show you my faith through my works. Which is, we go out there into the street, we help seniors that are incapable of mowing their own lawns, maybe they got cited by code enforcement, and it's just giving back to the community and doing good things. We have our regular meetups. Usually it's the first Friday of the month at our office, at the same office where I have the Arlington Business Partnership at. And then we do organized cleanups with businesses. So the last one we just did, I'm not sure if you were at the Inland Empire Wing for Inside Arlington.
Oh, no, I was there. I was there, yeah.
So we partnered up with Chick-fil-A this last time, and we got like a couple of their employees, maybe like 20 of their employees out there, and we cleaned up their lot and then the surrounding streets around there. So we're trying to instill community pride, right? We're trying to let people know, hey, Riverside's our home. We want it to look a certain way. The government's not just going to do everything for us. We are the residents. We're the ones in power. We're the ones who vote everyone in. You know what I mean? This is our home. So we want to take care of our home. And we want other people to start feeling that way too. Because I feel like if you can connect the community together, you can keep things nicer. You can keep things the way you want them. You know what I mean? Versus everyone's like, oh, that's not my problem. Driving down the street, you throw your soda cup out the car. Like, we're trying to get rid of all those habits. We're just trying to, we're not necessarily trying to push people towards religion, but we're not hiding our faith either. You know what I mean? We're doing what we think we're doing the works of what we think the path God has set us on. And that's where we're at.
How do you start a relationship with God? Because something that you said right now is we're not pushing people into a religion, which I'm a firm believer that is not a religion, it's a relationship with God.
Yes.
And a lot of people are in a different stage in their life when it comes to building a relationship with them and accepting that, to me, Jesus Christ is my God and my Savior. And a lot of people are in different situations in life to build a relationship with them. How did your relationship started with them?
So, growing up young, I had a bad relationship with God. And that was mostly because I saw the struggles in our family, and I thought I always thought like we're supposed to be rescued or saved or something. We thought like, when's the hero coming in to make life better? So, my parents don't have to worry about what groceries we can afford for the week or what else we can do. But I had a long conversation with my father, and it was more about, why don't you feel the same way I do? And he was like, well, what do you mean? Like, we're blessed. Like, my kids are United States citizens. We have a house. We have food. You guys are going to be able to do everything I couldn't do growing up. And it's all because of all the struggles that we did to get here. So then I started looking at life with a different perspective of saying, this is what my dad sees, not just in us, but in what he's getting out of all his struggles, right? Because he didn't struggle for no reason. He had a plan, and his plan was us. So I feel, number one, aside from my relationship with God, I felt just gratitude for the struggles they went through that I'll never have to experience, right? I will never have to experience that. If anything, my kids are going to get another step up from what I got, and it's just hopefully trickling down from there. And number two, then I thought, well, if my dad believes God sent him on this path for a reason, then what's my path? What's my connection with God? What does God expect out of me, or what does God want out of me? And how can I best serve God while also being appreciative of everything my parents did for me?
Right.
And then just little by little, my thought process started changing. You know what I mean? Instead of just feeling like resentment and things like that, I started looking at opportunities of what am I doing and what's the cause and effect of the things I'm doing, right? So I noticed, the more I did good things, that at first, growing up, when my thought process started to change, I joined Project Hope at Bryant Park. So teenagers coming together to give back to the community. And we used to do like fundraisers for things where we would help kids, like for the Spark of Love toy drive, like the toy drive that you guys are doing. We raise money and get the kids some toys, sometimes hire a Santa for the holidays. Sometimes it would just be for Thanksgiving meals. But all the stuff we did was just like fundraise and clean up the park. And it was just, it was a great hangout spot for kids who liked to be at the park all day and wanted to contribute. So, you know, then I started noticing, hey, you know, I'm doing this. And then one of the organizations I'm currently partnered with right now, Arlington Temporary Assistance, they saw me there all the time. And then they were like, hey, you know, you're young. Do you know how to use PowerPoint? And I was like, yeah, I know how to use PowerPoint. You know, like what kind of kid doesn't know how to use PowerPoint? So, you know, it was a bunch of elderly people, and they were like, well, we have a presentation for a grant that we're trying to get, but we have no idea how to set this up. It took me 15 minutes to set it up.
Oh, man.
And then they started asking me for help more and more. And then I was like, hey, like, I'll help you guys whenever you want. Just let me know. Right. And then I just, like I said, cause and effect. I just started seeing that when my mindset shifted, I just started paying attention to the things I was doing. And like little by little, it just set me on the path where I currently am now. I mean, I did that. And then the park themselves told me, hey, you know what? You're always here. Go be a cleared volunteer. Go get your background check done and everything, so then you can participate in all the park things and do whatever you like. Whatever we do, you can be a part of it. So then I started coaching my little brothers in flag football. I started coaching all the other sports. I only knew football, but I was like, you know what? We'll do soccer. We'll do basketball, whatever it is, right? Not a pro at any of that, but at least football I felt more comfortable in. So I started with that. Then I started helping them out with their Easter egg hunts and just everything. And then finally the opportunity came when they were like, hey, we're hiring for the parks. You want to work at the park? And then at the time I was like, oh, it's a part-time job. I'm working full-time at like Big Five Sporting Goods, you know, like just the numbers don't suggest take the part-time job. But then I also had to reflect on, number one, like, what do I want out of life and what's going to make me happy? And do I like what I'm currently doing, like over there versus over here volunteering? Yeah. And I knew my heart was in volunteering. So I figured this is a way to volunteer and get a little bit money on the side as well. To, you know, I didn't have my own home. I didn't have my own family, so I could afford to take a pay cut. Yeah. So then they hired me at the parks. And I got hired at Casablanca over there on Madison Street. Okay. And it was really funny because when I got there, it's the same, right? It was Hispanic. Well, it's the same visually as in Hispanic community. So I was like, okay, I went from one Hispanic community to another one. Nothing against any other community, but I was like, man, I'm a stranger in this community. So at the very least, I thought I fit in. Immediately, I realized I did not fit in because I had kids coming up to me. So that's where I met my now wife. But that'll be a different part of the story.
We got to get to that one soon, though.
What's it called? So the kids would come up to me and be like, hey, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from Riverside. They were like, no, where are you from? Like, because we're from Casablanca and you're not from Casablanca. And I was like, oh, okay. So we're very territorial around here. And I was like, oh, I'm from Orlando. And then some people, you know, gave me a little attitude, and some people, and I was like, wow. It was a community that was very like, just, they liked Casablanca. Okay. Riverside used to have a history. I believe I was the third or second staff that didn't grow up in Casablanca that was hired there. Before that, they would only hire staff from Casablanca because they were the only ones that were accepted in that community. Okay, so very proud. We started breaking the trend after that because the community loves me. Like even when I've gone back and, you know, I went back and my wife started telling them all that I'm running for Ward 6 City Council.
You grew up in Casablanca? This is when you tell them it was thanks to you they accepted you.
What's it called? So she started telling everyone this last time we went. Everyone was so happy for me, and they were like, you know, they all remember me. And it's because I left an impact, because they knew that when I was there, I'm there to help. I'm not there to ask for anything. I'm not there to get anything in return. I genuinely feel like my place in life, where God has led me to, is I'm strong. I'm strong enough to not just help myself, but to help others. And I think that resonates with me so importantly that, you know, even I have bad days where I'm like, I'm running my food pantry and I see some people and I'm like, they kind of say things that make me sound like they don't need the food. But then I see other people who do need the food and I'm like, you know, it's all worth it. If I can feed one person that needed it today, even if 160 people came by and let's say half of them didn't need it, they weren't really at need or whatever, I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm not going to start, you know, changing the way I do things. I do things because I believe they are the right thing to do. So as long as I keep that faith and that my relationship with God that way, I'm happy.
Amen to that, brother. You're actually doing the works, like you say, like your charity.
Yeah.
You know, we come to this earth as finding our purpose, and you find your purpose when you understand is you got to serve other people, and you put yourself to help somebody else. But not everybody sees it like that, and not everybody has the heart to humble themselves, because it's very humbling to serve somebody else when you put your pride to the side. Your nonprofit. When did you start your nonprofit? Because that's something I've noticed about you guys, both of you, because you guys are always together. And I see on your social media is you just fed how many people?
Yeah, so we just fed 160 people through our food pantry.
Is this the food pantry? Sorry to interrupt you. The food pantry is run through your nonprofit?
Yes.
So you started the nonprofit on your own? Is it a group of people, board members?
So it started off a little weird. There was an existing food pantry that used to be with one of the local churches, I think with Arlington Methodist Church, but they moved out. They sold their property and they closed that church down. So the food pantry was freaking out. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know how to continue it. The need is clearly there, right? Everyone can say the need is there.
Yeah.
But the logistics of how are you going to get someone to take it over, how to do this, to do that. So someone referred them to me and I said, well, look, I'll help them out until we can find them a spot. So I invited them to my warehouse and I said, hey, once a month we'll do it. We'll be really clean. We'll organize everything and we'll have a system where we can do it once a month, just like they normally did, because they only did it once a month. And then we would just do it until I found them something that they could afford. And then I got a lot more involved with them, just like I do with any time I volunteer somewhere. I got really involved. I mean, one of the ladies, I mean, honestly, it feels like I have a third grandma, because she'll call me and Rosie. She'll send us her blessings every morning. She'll, you know, she's just like, hey, how's life? How's everything going? And I feel so welcome that I'm like, you know what? I like this. Why would I even get rid of it? So the food pantry came in about 5 years ago. But we started our nonprofit officially 3 years ago.
Okay.
So we were brought together. It was someone else had the idea, but we ran with it after people fell out. Because, you know, sometimes people show up to the first meeting and they don't really stick to, hey, I'm committed to doing this. So we got invited to a meeting at Hunt Park. And it was a bunch of people. I've never met anybody else in the room, but they were all supposed to be community leaders or people who were involved in the community and they wanted to help out. I think by our second meeting, it was just me, Rosie, and another guy with his wife. So I think by the second meeting, the whole thing fell apart. But we got along. So that guy's my best friend now. His name's Josh.
Okay.
He's the Ward 5 Parks and Rec Commissioner.
Okay.
And he's my number one, so or my number two, whatever. Yeah, she's my number one.
Yeah. Are you gonna see the chancla fly right now?
God, Rosie, Josh.
There you go. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my wife too. And another is God, my wife, my family, and then the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, Josh has strong feelings of volunteering his community, and his inspiration is he has 2 daughters and he wants them to experience an even better Riverside than he experienced growing up. And I can totally relate to that. You know what I mean? I wanted to, so the kids of the future have not just the same experience as us, but a better opportunity, right? An opportunity to grow up here, to go to work here, to go to school here, to buy their homes here, and to just live here, right? Like, we have great colleges, great universities. We have no reason to say these kids should be going to Anaheim, to be going somewhere else. Like, Riverside's a great city. It's a large city.
And it's about to get even better.
Exactly. We're on the cusp of something great.
Yeah.
So that's just another reason why I want to get more involved, is because I feel like we do a lot. You know, I'm sure there's people that do more, but I feel like there's a capacity you hit after a certain level of, you know, just being as involved as, you can only be as involved as the organizations you're a part of, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've kind of hit my cap on how much influence I can have, as in how much impact I can make. And then people started coming up to me and like, hey, you know, Jim Perry's retiring. Have you thought about running for Ward 6 City Council? You grew up there. And I'm like, oh man, that sounds kind of like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, that was my first answer to people, like maybe the first 2 or 3 times they asked. And then, you know, I had a long talk with God, had a long talk with my wife. We had to make sure that we knew what we were getting ourselves into before we agreed. And once those conversations were done, I had a conversation with work to see, hey, how do you guys feel about it? And you guys want me to resign? What do you guys want me to do? They extended me. They want me to stay. They love me there. Yeah. And so, you know, like after that, we decided to go for it, to go for Ward 6 City Council, because, you know, Riverside's on the cusp of something great. Yeah. And we want to be a part of it.
So obviously, all of this where you're at today, it's been because of God. Yes. And it's because you allow Him to use you to serve other people. Because I will imagine that's how all of these doors began to open up. But sometimes it's like I said earlier, is people don't see that. People don't see that, how am I going to benefit from doing all these things for somebody else? Because we have our needs. We have all of these things that we all need to be able to get through. But when you truly, like yourself, you're doing it out of your heart, then now you're running for city council. Yeah. You know, it's you're 33 years old, you know, and to hear that the guy, and this is, I can see that you're not faking it. You're not faking to serve people just to take advantage of it. If the door opens up, welcome it. But if a door doesn't open up, you already have something that you are doing for the community. Yes. And you have been doing all these things. It just so happens that more doors keep on opening up. But when you're starting to get into this game of politics now, it's dirty, you know, and there's conversations that not everybody has God in the front like you do. And not everybody has the willingness to serve without having to have something in return. When you put this into prayer to ask God, this is where you need me to do, in the back of your head, is this something that you have been aware of, that, okay, you're going into an arena that God may not always be welcome. And even though one nation under God, I think that's gotten lost in translation. When everything that we're living on this day and age and our generations, I've gotten to see some agendas that took a lot power, and they've gotten to a point that they did it because they were vocal about it. They believe in it so hardly, and they were not stopping. Yes. to go full force on it. Is it the right agenda? If you ask me with my biblical values, I don't believe so. But they did it. And at some point, us, the ones that have a relationship with God, the ones that are Christians, we weren't as vocal about our Lord, to the point that, and I said this to somebody at the last event at the Chamber of Commerce Ambassadors, is how is it that we do have a Pride Month, and that's fine. They fought for it. But why don't we have a month to celebrate God, our faith? And this is the arena that you're stepping into.
Yes. So, yes, I do keep that in mind, because one side has become very vocal about their beliefs, opinions, and tolerances. They've gotten their message across, right? Yeah. I mean, the city has done a lot.
The state. Everybody has listened to them.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Well, I'm just talking because I'm running at a local level. I'm going to speak to the local level of it, right?
Yeah, no, I understand you. I understand you.
Because, I'll tell you right now, it's what I tell everyone else. It's like private property, for example. The city can only have so much influence on a separate entity. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to focus on issues I can actually have some say on. Because otherwise, I mean, then I feel like I'm also, sort of virtue signaling, and it's not who I am. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So, I'm the kind of guy that, another one of my favorite sayings is, man judges by appearances, the Lord judges you by your heart. So, I know that the Lord is in my heart. So in the past, I feel like I've been a little bit more kept to myself about it. I think we talked about this a little bit because, sometimes I've been worried about offending people or about this or about that. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, other people haven't necessarily been worried about offending others. They've simply spoken their beliefs and values. And those who respond to it positively will always respond to it positively. Just like if I tell people my values and where my faith comes from, there's going to be some people that agree with me that I wouldn't have ever known had I not spoken out loud. And they're going to be the ones that support me. And there's going to be people who would have never supported me because of that anyways. And, at the end of the day, I want to be there for the residents of Ward 6. But I'm never going to forget who I am or where I come from, because I want them to elect me because, number one, they think I'm the best person for the job, but also because who I am fits that ward. You know what I mean? Because I don't plan on changing. Politics can be a dirty game. I've already made up my mind I'm not playing dirty in any way, shape, or form. Even if I find out something about somebody, that's between them, God, and whoever else was involved. You know what I mean? I'm just going to run on what I believe is the right thing to do. And I'm going to speak on what the right thing to do is, because it's important. I do think there's been a lot of values and moralities lost in this generation, and I think there couldn't be a better time to start bringing it back. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a father yet, but I'm going to be a father. God willing, one day I'll be a father. And I want to make sure that I instill what I believe are the right morals and values in my children. And they'll be able to make a decision for themselves at one point, right? When we become adults, we'll make our decisions. But at least I'm going to guide them through that part. And that's simply it. I know where I stand. And I just think that I won't let anything else impact me on that. I'm going to keep true to my faith, to who I am, and to what I believe in, to what I've been doing. I didn't just start any of this stuff 3 months ago before running. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for nearly the 20 years I've been living here. 15 years I've been involved with Arlington Temporary Assistance. So I've been volunteering for most of my Riverside life and majority of my life in general. So this is just, like we said, it feels like an opportunity that God's opening a door for me. And that's the path I'm heading towards. And if God opens a different door and tells me that your path was left instead of right, then that's the path I'll go through.
You accept it.
Yeah, I'll accept it, right? I'm not gonna have any regrets. I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm gonna grow from this, and I'm gonna keep growing. Because, like you said earlier about humbling yourself, I used to think I was the smartest man in the room until I started forcing myself into rooms with people who were a lot smarter, a lot more successful, and humbled me real quick. So my passion, other than like volunteering, getting back to community, is personal growth and discipline. I want to be the best version of myself, because the better version of myself I can be, the better husband I can be to my wife, the better father I'll be to my kids, the better neighbor I'll be in my community. You know what I mean? So it's all those things that remind me to stay level-headed in this campaign, and to know that this isn't the end-all be-all. I'm 33.
Yeah.
A term is 4 years. God willing, I have a lot more life left in me after that, right? So the opportunity is endless, whether it's through politics or whether it's another avenue. We'll find a way to get things done.
When you think about the ward, when you think about and I don't know if it's too soon, but you probably do already have an understanding of what can be done within the ward. What are some of the areas, when you start to think about the work that you're going to have to do, what are some of the areas that you want to be able to add value to the people, whether it's to the business arena, to the individuals, to the students? What are some of the things, as you're starting to identify all of these things that the ward is going to need? What is one thing or two things that you can pinpoint that you would say, this is something that I would like to do once I take in office?
So for sure, one thing is an initiative that we're starting with the Arlington Business Partnership is we're going to start pressure washing our district up to 5 days a week. And it's for a specific reason, right? We have in our entire country, not just the city, we have a homelessness issue, right? And I do a lot of volunteer work, so I'm very much aware of that community. I'm very much aware of people who are down on their luck and people who have mental health issues, people who substance abuse, XYZ reason, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want to do, especially in that ward, is I want to continue the efforts of beautifying the area for 2 reasons. Law enforcement can only do so much to get rid of vagrancy. Mm-hmm. And the city does have services for people who want them, right? The problem is, like, when we get reports, we'll get reports of 100 services were offered to people. Maybe, if we're lucky, 1 person accepted them. So we have to either, in my opinion, we have to send the message of accept services so we can help you, or this isn't the city for you. Which means we're going to do beautification projects to keep the streets clean, but at the same time, bring attention to the area so that, like Magnolia Corridor, for example, if you highlight it and you're cleaning it and you constantly have a presence there, people won't hang out there and smoke crack in the middle of the street in front of people. I've seen it on our walkthroughs. We've had our Ward 5 and 6 walkthroughs. We've seen it. They're right there in front of, like, Stater Brothers. And they got their crack pipes out.
Just stepping out of the doors here at the parking lot right behind Target.
Kids are walking with their families.
And I was literally walking with my daughter, and she saw that.
And again, I have compassion. I come from the nonprofit sector. Yeah. I have compassion. But there are some people that simply do not want to be helped. And that's their choice, but not in our city. And that's one of the messages I want to spread across through the ward is beautification that will reduce vagrancy, because the police can only do so much. It's like 10 misdemeanors before they can book them into the jail. And then if it's a non-offensive, if it's not a physical assault or not, nothing like that, they get released within a week. Yeah. So what are we doing other than kind of sending the message to the police that they aren't getting anything done? They're almost being defeated mentally, right? Like, oh, 10 citations and now it's a misdemeanor. Now you book me in for 2 days in jail and I'm right back out here. That's not working. Yeah. We need other avenues to clean up our streets. We need other avenues to make our streets and our families feel safe so they can know, like, we don't have to zoom down Van Buren or Magnolia. We can walk some of these, you never know what restaurants you see, what businesses you see, because you're so busy driving past it because you don't want to see all that mess.
Yeah, you just turn a blind eye.
Turn a blind eye, but this is our city. Yeah. You know what I mean? We are the ones that are, what makes Riverside great, and we are the ones that, we're the faces of this community. We need to take it back. It's our community. Yeah. And I think that's a real big focus that I'm going to work on is I want to do more beautification to keep it nicer, which will help with property values, it'll help with vacancy rates, it'll help with development projects, but it'll also help with vagrancy. And if we put the cost of how much businesses have to pay for security cameras, for those outside systems with the little lights and sirens, or a security guard out here 24/7, 7 days a week, this will be pennies on the dollar. That's what, like, assessments are for. That's why our bid does a special assessment. It's $400 a year. Now, $400 a year, sometimes it sounds like a lot to people, but I'm like, look, it's $35 a month. And if we can get this done, you guys could save thousands of dollars in vandalism, security, and all kinds of other stuff, because it's ridiculous. It feels like, to start a business, you need a foolproof backup plan on how to keep your business safe. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's your responsibility. Anything that's not tied down will get taken out. It will. You know what I mean? And we can't live like that. We can't live, we can't live in fear of what someone's going to do to our buildings or to our neighbors. The parks, they close their bathrooms, their outside bathrooms. And why is that? Because of things that happen in those bathrooms. Yeah. So it's safety and vagrancy are going to be my two focuses. Okay. The vagrancies through beautification projects, and then the improvements themselves will add to the safety, aspect of making sure families feel comfortable walking down our streets.
Part of this beautification is already happening through the Arlington?
Yes. So the Arlington Business Partnership encompasses parts of wards 5, 3, and 6.
Okay.
So what we do right now is we help out with beautification grants, vandalism grants. These are projects the owners take on themselves for their specific needs. Like sometimes we just had a business, CM School Supply, and their dumpster area keeps getting, people keep living in there and doing things in there. So they got an enclosure. Mm-hmm. Well, now that was an improvement, so that way they don't have vagrancy on their lot. So we help them with $1,000 essentially to pay for it. And then what we do other than that is we do things like we do parking lot restriping. 'Cause sometimes the lines are a little faded out, and when little things like that, I mean, a $10 can can do like 3 to 5 lines. Yeah. $100, we do your whole parking lot, and it looks good, right? People park, and people know where to park. Ever been a parking lot where like the lines suck?
Where do I park? Where do I make up my own space?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like everyone's just parking wherever, So it's like when you have things like that, it's the little details. I think everyone is so focused on such bigger issues that we as a city can't necessarily solve, that we forget that the little things work. The little improvements work, just you just have to really like keep at it. You can't, I don't want to start an initiative and say, hey, I started this program and we cleaned up, and 3 months later we're on to the next thing. I mean, like, and just letting this program die. Like, you have to see things through to the end. And I think, our current leadership is doing a pretty good job of that, but we can always do better. Yeah. We can always do better. And someone like me who very hands-on, and I don't like to let things go like that. I'm like, I take pride in what I do. It's a reflection of me. You know what I mean? Anytime I put myself out there, I don't go around saying, we've met a couple times and we've talked. Before we had any of these conversations, even though I saw you as a chamber ambassador, I wouldn't necessarily say go to Tony, because I have to get to know you and make sure that I know what you stand for, because I feel like when I refer someone to somebody, it means something to me that I'm taking personal responsibility for that reference. Yeah. When I take on a project, I'm taking personal responsibility. Like my wife knows, she's out there with me all the time. We don't say 5 o'clock, the day's done, whatever happens, happens. No, we stay until it's done. Or if we need to take another day, well, suddenly Saturday became a work day. Suddenly Sunday became a work day. We try not to overdo it, and because we need time to ourselves too, because we're pretty busy in the community, but we take pride. So that's, I think, like all those things, and just making little changes and following them through, not giving up on them. I think we will see changes. I think we'll see good new developments coming in. One of the areas I want to take care of that Jim told me he doesn't think he'll see in his timeline is basically across from Burlington, like diagonally across behind there on Banbury Drive. There's a big empty lot there that's waiting for a new development project. So I want to start talking to the property owner and start talking to developers and seeing how we can connect some people together to start making things happen. I want to take a very proactive approach in the developments and in what's going on in that ward. I don't want to just, hey, let's see what they come up with.
So what are some of the ideas to take that proactive approach with everything else that you got going on? Because you're still, obviously, being the council member, it's technically what they say it's a part-time. Yes. You still have to have your full-time, and then you still got to be a husband. Yes. How are some of those ideas that you're starting to try to put together to be proactive to make that happen?
So, number one is I'm at this point of my career at Arlington Business Partnership, I do have my priorities aligned, right? So what I do is I know when my timelines are coming up. For the most part, unless I get a brand new board that wants to change everything, most of my priorities stay very similar. They just need regular updates. So for me personally, I have 2 days of meetings a month that I have to be there for, which right now we're currently training Rosie to, in case I ever need to step away, that she can handle those meetings and lead them. So, that's one alternate plan. The other good thing is I can be at City Hall, I can be working, and as long as I have my laptop with me, I can do my other tasks when I'm balancing my time between back and forth, right? So now the good husband part for me is I got to make sure no matter how busy I am, I'm always talking to my wife. That's the most important thing. We have based our entire relationship off communication, because I feel like the day a couple can't talk to each other is the day they have real problems. You know what I mean? The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, we're here for it. Let's get it out of the way. Let's talk. And I think as long as, you know, she can feel heard and I make sure I'm not, you know, take priorities, right? I said, God, my wife, and then we start trickling down, right? I take my work very seriously, not choosing my work over my wife. You know, take my work very seriously, definitely not choosing my work over God. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, I know where my priorities lie. So I've had talks with my board. We are getting because we did expand in our assessment, we are getting another support staff too that's going to help lead the beautification projects. So I'm going to be the one that overviews the whole logistics of how to get it done, but this individual is going to be responsible for executing it all the way through. So it's you know, it's like any company, I would say. It's delegating the work to the right people on what can be done by necessarily someone other than me, and what do I need to be there for. Like, I want to be the kind of council member that when someone calls, I answer the phone and I talk to them and I get back to them, right? I'm not going to know every answer, but that's why we're a team with the city. We have the right people. We have the right experts. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm an expert at public works, public utilities. I know a lot about this stuff, but there's always an expert to talk to, right? So I want to be the guy that gets back to you myself and actually knows what's going on in his community. I don't want to have assistants where they're basically running the show and I'm the face. I don't like being the face of things. I've never really been one to care for recognition or credit. I just want to get the work done. If the work is good, the work speaks for itself. And that's how I feel. So I feel like there's going to be some bumps along the road, but for the most part, we're a good team, and I think we're on the same page as far as what we're expecting. And I've been talking to other people that are currently in the position or have been in the position to get another understanding of what they went through. You know what I mean? We've had conversations with some dignitaries' wives of what's expected out of the wife of a dignitary, or, you know, what things fell onto their laps that they didn't think would fall onto their laps beforehand, right? Because this is a lot more complicated than people make it out to be. Like, and even me, right? Like, I only know what I know. So I'm planning with what I know, and anything I've had doubts about, I'm talking to people who have been in those shoes or are currently in those shoes, so I can get a bigger picture of how they manage it. Like, you know, specifically because I work in wards 5 and 6, potential conflict of interest on some things, you know. So I've been having all those conversations to make sure I know that me working on the council wouldn't impede any progress the city's doing. Because if I was someone that couldn't vote on things that I think would make the city better because of conflicts of interest or things like that, then I wouldn't probably consider running for it, because I don't want to stop progress. You know what I mean? I want the city to keep progressing.
See what you're saying. You know, something you said is when you put your name behind somebody, it's you got to make sure that you trust this person, you know, because then otherwise it'll reflect on you. Same thing for you. It's the endorsements. That speaks volumes. It's very early on. But I know you mentioned the other day you're already starting to pick up on some endorsements. Is some of them that you can mention, or is it something that you cannot mention yet?
Yeah, I can talk about some. So I'll talk about some endorsements, and then some people I'm currently meeting, because it's still very early.
Announced. But the important thing is it's somebody putting their name behind it, which is just as important it is for me if I'm referring you to work with my attorney. It's like, I know who I'm referring you to work with, who is the same thing. If you're running for city council, the endorsement is not the financial support that it can come with it that is needed to run a campaign, but is somebody saying, like, you know what, I'm putting my name behind this person. And who are some of these persons that are already entrusting you so early on the race?
So right now, on the current city council, I have 2 confirmed endorsements. The first person to endorse me right from the beginning was Ward 5 council member Sean Mill. So I work closely with Sean through the Arlington Business Partnership, through all the businesses that are in the area, and he has supported us a lot. Not necessarily like, when I say supporting us, I think of all the businesses. Because I don't think of ABP as like a separate entity. I think of it as the identity of all the businesses that are in the district. So vacancy rate has been going down. New developments have been going up. You know, we have the new Dutch Bros. I think it was Riverside's first Dutch Brothers.
Yeah.
The corner of Van Buren and Magnolia, the House of TV finally got decimated, and now we're talking about potential projects that are going in there. The city bought the opposite corner diagonal over there, the old Parts Authority building. A lot of improvement that has been because of a proactive councilman. So that's one of the reasons I'm running, is because I see what having the right person in a position, what impact they can make,
make a difference.
right? Because there are people who are proactive and people who are reactive. And I've seen it where there's no changes because someone's more reactive. And when someone comes in with the vision of what they want to see, of what they want to do, and they keep hammering down on that nail, you know, because I've had conversations with other council members, and that's what they told me. They said, we all work for the city, but we also work for our wards. So sometimes you're going to be fighting with one another to get your piece of the pie. That man fights for his piece of the pie, and he's getting it. Arlington is regaining its identity. It's getting a lot of new improvements. We've had mural projects. We're having more mural projects coming up. So we're getting, you know, the community, the community, all the stakeholders, from the residents to the businesses to outside vendors, all of them involved into this, because they see that the Magnolia corridor, that Arlington is reviving. It's being revitalized. We're even talking about a new event. We're going to have Ciclo Riva February 2027, and that's going to be added to my plate. So that, I've been told that I'm going to be the one running it. So we'll see. It's a Take Back the Streets bicycle event, so a cycling event. So we're going to do a big shutdown and just go crazy, health, fitness, wellness sort of, you know, type of event. But so Councilmember Sean Mill was the first one to endorse me. I've had other endorsements, but let me speak to the current council. Then I met with Councilmember Chuck Condor. And he was very honest with me. He told me that he does like me, but he is going to hear out every candidate before he makes his decision. And I said, that's more than fair, because I would want someone to do that for me,
same thing
right?
for you.
If someone else just beat them to me and I didn't have a chance to talk with them, I wouldn't feel right either. So he told me that, and I said, more than fair. And then I met with Councilmember Stephen Robillard from Ward 3.
Which is the ward where we at here at the office.
So so we talked, we were at, I believe it was Kramer's Coffee Bistro. So we talked, and he did ask me questions on, it's like what you said, what are like the things you want to focus on, because every council member kind of has their specialty on what they're a little bit, you know, they feel stronger about. And I talked to him about the beautification, about the homelessness, about the vagrancy. You know, it's not a problem we can solve. We can't just come up with 1 million homes or do this or do that, because in my opinion, someone who's addicted to drugs is not in their right mind to make a decision for themselves. But some people disagree with that, which is why, you know, you cannot force services onto someone. That's how the voters voted. So that's what we have to work around those things, right? We have to work with the tools that we have. So I think my current approach of beautification is just a dual benefit. It helps the residents take pride in their community, and it highlights and it pushes away a problem that, you know, that doesn't want to be fixed. So Councilmember Robillard did give me his blessing, and he is endorsing me. I have meetings coming up right after this podcast. I'm going to talk to previous council member Steve Adams. Last week I met with previous council member of Ward 5, Chris MacArthur, who I believe will be giving me his endorsement. I'm meeting former mayor Ron Loveridge tomorrow for coffee at Molina's. And then next Tuesday, I'm meeting with Board of Supervisors, Jose Medina, as well. So those are like the dignitary interviews I've had and I'm having. And this has all been in the last like 2 weeks, not even
you
2
just
full
announced
weeks.
it.
Yeah, I just announced. So it's just been
it,
like 2 weeks. And then I got endorsements from every single director on the Arlington Business Partnership. So all their businesses supported me, every single one, which is a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they were all unanimously happy for me and that they all supported me. Other than that, it's other individuals that are more on my nonprofit side, you know, that are very much involved in the communities, but they don't necessarily have a business of their own. Richard Bennett sits on my Arlington Temporary Assistance committee, and he does work in like Arizona and other states. He is a humanitarian by far, retired. I think he's retired from the post office, and the guy just gives his time, money, and everything to nonprofits and does God's work everywhere. And he endorsed me, and I felt really good about that because he's one of those people where I take him at his word and I trust his word a lot. Right. So if he didn't believe in me, he would tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that he was happy for me and he told me he believed in me was great. Oh, and I'm forgetting some people. Sorry, there's quite a few people I've talked to. Immediately, I was also endorsed by former Ward 6 Councilwoman Nancy Hart.
Okay.
So she used to be the president of Arlington Temporary Assistance. She was one of the ladies that asked me if I knew how to do PowerPoint.
Ah, okay.
So I've been helping them out for a long time.
PowerPoint, look.
Yeah.
Take it back to how long ago did you help her with the PowerPoint presentation?
That was like 15 years ago, at least. Man. 15 years ago. I think it was like 17 years ago.
Man, when you trust God, man, look at what He's done. Yeah, that simple thing to help somebody else.
I know.
Look at where He's got you today.
Yeah, look how far
it came full circle, man.
So I told her I was running, and she was more than ecstatic for me.
That's awesome.
And not that she had to prove anything, but she definitely proved that she was happy for me because anytime I see her anywhere, at a reception, at a grand opening, at a fundraiser, she's like, "Come here." Grabs my hand. She's like, "I'm gonna introduce you to some people," and
Praise
she goes
Lord, man. That's awesome.
Talks to everyone for me.
That's awesome.
And you know, it's gotten me definitely out there to talk to a lot of other people. I believe the Firefighters Association is going to come to my reception on Thursday, and that's a pretty big one. So if they do endorse me, I'm going to go ahead and show them. Here, I'm going to show them this picture. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Rose is laughing.
It's just because she knows what picture it is. I want to show them that, like, hey, this was taken over 5 years ago, so I didn't plan it for today. I was like, hey, just so you know where I stand with the fire department.
Man.
Everything aligns for a reason, right?
It's God, man. It's always God putting all this together once again, man. You did not expect that. Send me that picture.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
So that I can put it out there as B-roll when people can see it.
So,
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, they came up to me at Chuck Condor's fundraiser, and they were like, hey, we're going to be at your event. And I was like, let's talk first, because I don't even know who you guys are. And I knew they were fired because they had their stuff on. Right. But I was like, they were like, yeah, we heard a lot about you. And I'm like, oh, wow, people are talking. And I'm like, clearly it sounds like there are good conversations being had. I've had some bad conversations. Not bad, but as in I've had conversations with people who told me that before they got to know me, they didn't like me. And they were very honest about it. So, and I've always said, I don't take offense to things like that. Yeah. I usually like to think, if you don't like me, it's probably because you don't really know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I like to have fun. I like to joke around. I like to do things, but I don't really like to get at it with people or anything like that. I like to do my work and be around people who appreciate that work, who feel the same way. I like to surround myself with the same energy I like to give, right?
100%.
I like to, I'm the kind of leader that says, I won't ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself. Mm-hmm. That's who I am. So I had one lady come up. I'm not going to put her name out there, but she told me, I don't like you, right?
Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, I know. I know that. I said, but if you want, I have a couple minutes if you want to talk and let's figure out what's going on and maybe you can see a different side of me. And then she asked me some questions. It was about the council stuff. So she asked me questions and she was asking me some questions. And I think for the most part, she liked my answers because she ended the conversation saying, I didn't like you and I didn't really have a candidate for this award, but you're my favorite candidate for the award. So we have a follow-up meeting that has yet to happen. We're working. Thanksgiving is a little crazy right now, so I'm trying to figure out my schedule, everyone's schedules. But we're going to have a follow-up meeting, and I think she's going to end up endorsing me. I'm trying to set up a meeting with the Assemblywoman Leticia Castillo. I work with her team a lot, through the chamber. So have you seen her representatives, right? Yeah. So I think it's Tony and I think Madison. So I've worked with them on a couple different, grand openings and other things. They donated candy to our Halloween event. And I wanted, whenever I meet with these dignitaries, everyone tells me try to get their endorsement, I want them to just get to know me. To get to know me because... Build a connection. Exactly, because I'm like, am I the kind of person that you think is right for the job? Yeah. And if I'm not, tell me why. Yeah. Tell me maybe something I'm missing that I don't see. Right? Because again, I'm about personal development. So if let's say I wasn't ready right now, I wouldn't be the first candidate to lose their first election and win their second one. It happens quite a bit. You know what I mean? I would hope that if I said, hey, I lost, but I want to give it another chance, then I can learn and grow from whatever I did to lose from. That's good, man. So that's kind of the approach I've been taking with meeting with people. A lot of phone calls to make. We stop by once or twice a week with our campaign guys and start calling anybody we know or any connections with people. Because sometimes people will refer me to other people. And, it's been, sorry, losing my voice. Get some water, man. Get some water, man. But everything you're saying, man, it's going to be a fun time for you. It's just a fun season. Despite the result. Obviously, I'm rooting for you. I definitely am. Now that I'm getting to know you a little bit better and getting this opportunity to really see what you are about and the fact that you are not about you, you're about God, and then God is allowing you to do everything that you're doing. I like what you're doing, and I like who you are, and enjoy this process, man. Enjoy this season, man. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen. All you got is today. Don't stress about tomorrow. At the end of the day, let God do what he's going to do. Clearly, he showed you that you are where you're at today because of what you've been doing. I don't think there should be any loss of sleep, any stress. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself, man. Yeah. And if God takes care of all the animals and all the birds, why wouldn't he take care of us? And you are a man of God, and you are 100% rooted on him, man. You do stand on a solid foundation. I can see that. And you're not just saying it to saying it, it's your actions. Like you're not perfect. Your actions are speaking louder than a lot of the words that I've heard a lot of the time out there. So just trust him. Just trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. Seek him in all your ways and he will guide you on the right path. Do not consider yourself to be wise. And 100%. Walk away from evil. You're on this path for a reason, man. Helping somebody with a PowerPoint presentation, look at where it's got you today. Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's just, I've just been following the path that I think God's been leading me on. And it'd be impossible for me not to be a man of faith at this point because it's like everything is happening and it's all connecting. And it's like, man, if you don't believe in a higher power after that, you're lost. You are really lost because, like I said, I think I told you before, all my jobs since I applied for the parks job, I never applied for the other ones. When they promoted me to manager, they were like, hey, Oz, do you want to be a manager? Let's go set you up for this interview. And they set it up for me. And then when Arlington Business Partnership hired me, they met me at an event and they really liked me and they interviewed me that day and they offered me a job. And then when they got to know me even more in my work ethic, they said, no, we don't want you to work at the city no more. We want you to just be right here. Mm-hmm. And then eventually they gave me the keys to the building. So everything's just been happening for a reason. Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's I've never been one for recognition or for, like actions speak louder than words. I think I just like doing the work, and if people notice, they notice, and if they don't, well, hopefully they still like whatever we did to leave a better imprint on the community.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen to that.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, brother, it's gonna be a fun run. Enjoy it. Anything that I can do to help, please let me know. For everybody out there who's gonna be watching this video and watching the shorts that are about to come, take at least a minute or two, talk to them, let them know what are your foundations, what do you stand on, what do you believe in, and with that we'll call it up a conversation, brother. What do you say?
Sounds good. My foundations. So I believe in equity, not necessarily just equality, right? Because equality is treating everyone the same regardless of their circumstance. Equity is when you see someone that needs a little bit more help, you give them the help they need. You ever seen those images, like the illustrations of like 3 adults or like a child, a teenager, an adult, and they're all trying to see through a window, but the adult's the tallest one. He doesn't need
anything. Yeah.
The other 2, they have 3 boxes. In equality, each one gets a box. The adult doesn't even need one, so he can't even see through the window anymore because he's seeing the wall above it. And then the teenager with 1, he can see, and the little kid with just 1, he can't
see nothing.
So equity is 2 boxes for the little one, 1 for the teenager, and 1 for the adult. And that's kind of like the that's something I always tell people, because we hear the word equality a lot, but equality doesn't necessarily mean what people think it means. It's a little bit more short-sighted, because in Riverside alone, people will tell you, like I told you with Casablanca and Arlanza, they're both Riverside, 2 different communities, right? Sometimes a community has one need and another has a different need. Yeah. So the way, the way I want to govern, the way I want to run things is I want to get to know the specific needs of my communities and see what the best way to help them are. Not necessarily come in with my own ideology or my own beliefs. I want to get direct feedback from people to see, this is what it means to grow up in Arlanza. This is what it means to grow up in La Sierra. Yeah. This is what it means to them, and I want to do my best to hold that standard and raise it up from there, right? Like, I'm about accountability. I'm about discipline. So sometimes, tough conversations will need to be had. Sometimes we will make mistakes, but it's like you said about the worrying. I have to acknowledge that I'm human, and I will make mistakes. The only perfect person is God, and I'm not God. So I'll be making mistakes, and I'll be working on them to get better, and I'll be working, diligently with the residents to make sure that they're getting out of Ward 6 what they wanted to get out of Ward 6. So again, I think just going back to it, it's going to be equity, accountability, and communication. I think you got to be able to be there for your people, and just like they need to know that they have somebody fighting for them, and they need to be able to get a hold of that person, and not just me taking pretty pictures at a school opening, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or,
what you're saying.
I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like that's the fun perks of the job, is where I see them with their little shovels and the groundbreaking stuff.
But is the work really getting done?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I care about more than anything else, is actually being there for the important moments, and not sending someone there, but being there.
Being there.
Yeah, because I am a hands-on person. That's everything about me is, I love it when people match my energy, because I like to raise my energy to the next level. And when I lead my team for my events, I'm like, hey, you need to be at least up here with me, because we're going through it.
We're going through it.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're doing this for someone else. So everything we're doing right now, like at an event, some other kid is growing up right now that's going to experience this event, and how we treat them today is going to be how they felt for this moment. They're going to look at this event as like, man, it was a great day. Everyone was so nice. Everyone had a good attitude, and I loved it, and I wanted to come back. Or they're going to look at it like, man, people didn't want to be there. They didn't care. You know what I mean? It's all a reflection.
Yeah.
So I like to hold that standard up.
All right, brother.
That's where I come from.
I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. I know You got a lot of things to do, but the fact that you came and you decided to record this conversation, it's going to be there for posterity. Your grandkids at some point are going to see it. Everybody's going to be able to see it. God willing, it'll be there for a long time. But I appreciate you, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me out here.
With everything that you're doing, man. Thank you for all of you that are watching this podcast. This is a community. It's all about making sure that you're getting a message that goes on beyond how many followers we have. It's a true conversation that if you pay attention and you listen to it with an open heart, you will find out who Oz is, OZ Puerta, us, myself. At the end of the day, it's not about becoming influencers. It's simply we're living life every single day and we are doing something that we are trying to make a difference. Whether we're trying to make that difference and it's happening or not, at the end of the day, we're trying to do something different with our life. Yeah, and one thing is God put us in this path is for a reason, and all glory goes back to Him.
100%. It doesn't matter if the work is appreciated or not. I won't have any regrets that I think I did what was best for my home.
Amen.
And Riverside's my home.
Amen. On that note, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the sponsors, Little Financial and Insurance Services and TG Consulting for making this happen. And thank you, brother. Rosie, thank you for supporting this guy as well. Can't wait to see you and put you on the front of the camera next time. All right, we'll see everybody. Have a blessed day.